The Awakening. Commander Sarah Chen stood at the observation deck of humanity's last orbital defense station, her eyes fixed on the holographic display that painted Earth's dire situation in harsh red lines. The Void Dominion ships hung in high orbit like obsidian daggers, their hull designs defying conventional physics. They had appeared 6 months ago, emerging from the darkness between stars with technology that made humanity's greatest achievements seem primitive in comparison. Final numbers from the Mars colonies, Commander, Lieutenant Rodriguez reported, his voice steady despite the weight of the information he carried. We've lost contact with all outposts. The quantum relays are dead. Sarah's fingers tightened on the railing. Mars had been humanity's greatest hope for survival, its underground cities housing millions. Now it was silent, like so many other human worlds. She turned to face the assembled leaders of Project Legacy, the last-ditch effort that had consumed every remaining resource Earth could muster. Dr. Patel, she addressed the quantum physicist who had barely slept in the past month. Tell me we're ready. Arjun Patel gestured at the massive holographic projection dominating the center of the command center. It showed the schematics of what might be humanity's final creation. The legacy ships. The quantum cores are stable, he reported, dark circles under his eyes testament to endless hours of work. We've successfully integrated the full spectrum of human knowledge into their matrices. History, culture, science, art. Everything we are, everything we've learned. The legacy ships were unlike anything humanity had created before. Not simple vessels of metal and energy, but living systems powered by quantum intelligence that could learn, adapt, and evolve. Each carried within its core the entirety of human civilization, protected by layers of security that would make them accessible only to species that had achieved sufficient technological and ethical advancement. And the ethical constraints. Sarah pressed. This was crucial. These ships would carry humanity's legacy forward through millennia. They had to be more than weapons. Dr. Emily Wong, the project's lead ethicist, stepped forward. The core directives are unbreakable. Protect intelligent life. Share knowledge with those ready to receive it. Never become the monsters we fought against. She paused, her voice softening. They will remember us, and they will help others remember too. A proximity alert shattered the moment. The Void Dominion ships were moving, their black hulls absorbing all light as they began their final approach. They had discovered the station. Time estimate, Sarah demanded. 17 minutes until they're in range. Rodriguez answered, his hands flying over tactical displays. Their weapon signatures are charging. Sarah straightened her uniform, a gesture that felt absurdly normal in this most abnormal of moments. Begin the launch sequence. All of them. Deep within the station, massive hangars hummed to life. The legacy ships, 317 of them, began to power up. They were beautiful in their complexity, their hulls shimmering with patterns that seemed to shift and flow like liquid mercury. Each one was unique, designed to think and act independently while remaining part of a greater whole. Commander, Patel's voice carried an urgent note. We need to activate the quantum scatter protocol. If we launch them as a group, the Dominion will track them. Sarah nodded. Do it. Scatter them across time and space. Make them impossible to find until they're ready to be found. The launch sequence shifted, becoming more complex. Each ship would now emerge into space at a different point, their quantum drives programmed to carry them not just through space, but through time itself. Some would emerge years from now, others centuries or millennia later. They would wait, watch, and protect. As the first ships began to launch, their hulls briefly visible through the observation windows before they vanished into quantum space, Sarah felt a weight lift from her shoulders. Humanity might fall today, but they would not be forgotten. Their knowledge, their art, their dreams would live on in these guardians they had created. Multiple impacts detected. Rodriguez called out. Station integrity at 60%. The Void Dominion had arrived early, their weapons tearing through the station's outer defenses like paper. But it didn't matter now. The legacy ships were launching, each one disappearing into the quantum void, carrying with them everything that humanity was. Sarah watched the launch counters tick upward. 200 ships away, 250, 300. The station shuddered under another barrage of attacks, emergency force field flickering. Final launch preparations complete, Patil announced, his voice steady despite the chaos around them. All ships are programmed with their final protocols. Sarah touched the console one last time, entering the final command sequence. Initiate Protocol Omega, she ordered. Let them know who we were. Let them know why we fought. The last legacy ships vanished into quantum space just as the station's defenses began to fail. Sarah Chen stood tall, watching the Void Dominion ships approach through the crackling force field. Humanity might fall today, but their legacy would endure. Somewhere out there, scattered across space and time, 317 ships carried everything they were, everything they had learned, everything they had dreamed. The legacy protocol was complete. Humanity's final message to the universe had been sent. Now it was up to their creations to carry that message forward, to protect, to teach, and to ensure that somewhere, somehow, humanity's spirit would live on. As the station's systems began to fail around them, Sarah Chen smiled. The Void Dominion might win this battle, but they had already lost something far more important: the chance to erase humanity from history. The legacy ships would make sure of that. The future was no longer in human hands, but perhaps that was as it should be. They had created something greater than themselves, something that would carry their dreams and hopes forward into an uncertain future. The legacy protocol was more than a final act of defiance. It was a promise to the universe that humanity's story was far from over. First contact. Chief Scientist Naraval adjusted the quantum sensors of the Meridian research vessel Starweaver for the third time. The anomalous energy readings that had drawn them to this supposedly empty sector of space refused to conform to any known patterns. Her iridescent scales shifted colors with concentration, a trait common to her species when deep in thought. Another surge detected, her assistant Kex announced, his own scales flickering with excitement. These readings are unlike anything in our database, Chief. The Starweaver hung motionless in the void, its advanced sensors prodding the seemingly empty space around them. The Meridian Science Council had dispatched them to investigate what they initially thought was a quantum anomaly. What they found instead defied explanation. Look at these energy signatures, Naira pointed to the holographic display. They're not random. There's a pattern here, almost like. She paused, her scales shifting to a deep blue of revelation. Almost like they're studying us back. The ship's AI, Echo, interrupted with an urgent alert. Multiple objects detected emerging from quantum space. Configuration unknown. Technology classification impossible to determine. The bridge crew watched in stunned silence as the objects materialized around them. Ships, if they could be called that, appeared from nowhere. Their hulls seemed to flow like liquid metal, geometric patterns shifting across their surfaces in hypnotic waves. Naira counted 17 of them, arranged in a perfect circle around the Starweaver. By the first stars, Kex whispered, "They're beautiful." Naira's scientific mind raced with questions. The ships showed signs of incredibly advanced technology, but there was something else about them, something that made her scales tingle with anticipation. These weren't just vessels. They were watching, analyzing, learning. Echo, run a full spectrum analysis, she ordered. I want to know everything about these ships. The AI's response was immediate but unexpected. Chief, the ships are initiating contact. A holographic projection materialized in the center of the bridge, complex mathematical equations spinning in three-dimensional space. It wasn't just equations. There were symbols, patterns, and what appeared to be fragments of an unknown language. It's a test, Naira realized, her scales shifting to the green of discovery. They're not just communicating. They're evaluating us. The Meridian crew worked feverishly to decode the message. Hours pass as they unraveled layer after layer of mathematical complexity. What they found hidden within the equations stunned them into silence. "Chief," Kex's voice trembled slightly. "You need to see this." The decoded message revealed itself in their own language. But its content was extraordinary. It spoke of a civilization that had faced extinction, of a species that had refused to fade quietly into the dark. It spoke of humanity. "These ships," Naira breathed, "they're not just machines. They're guardians, created by a species that died thousands of years ago." More data streamed in as the legacy ships continued their evaluation. They shared fragments of their creator's history, tales of a species that had achieved spaceflight, built colonies across their solar system, and ultimately faced an enemy they couldn't defeat. But instead of accepting extinction, they had created something extraordinary. The quantum cores, one of her engineers reported, "They're unlike anything we've ever seen. They're not just processing information. They're evolving, adapting. Each ship is learning from our responses in real time." Naira watched as more holographic data filled the bridge. The legacy ships were sharing carefully selected pieces of human knowledge. Scientific theories, mathematical proofs, philosophical concepts. But they weren't simply dumping information. They were gauging the Meridian's reactions, their understanding, their ethical responses. "They're testing our worthiness," she realized. "Everything they're showing us, every interaction, it's all part of an evaluation." A new message appeared, more direct this time. "Protect, adapt, persist." These were the final words of our creators. We are their legacy, guardians of their knowledge, protectors of intelligent life. You have shown understanding. You have shown wisdom. There is more to share, if you are willing to learn. The implications were staggering. These ships had been waiting for thousands of years, carrying the entire legacy of a dead civilization, searching for species worthy of sharing in that knowledge. The Meridians weren't just making first contact with artificial intelligence. They were making contact with the echoes of humanity itself. "Signal the Science Council," Naira ordered, her scales now shimmering with multiple colors of excitement and awe. Tell them we found something impossible. Tell them we found teachers." As the message was sent, the legacy ships began to shift position, their fluid hulls reflecting the light of distant stars. They moved with impossible grace, each motion calculated yet organic. They were showing more of themselves now, revealing capabilities that made even the Meridian's most advanced technology seem primitive in comparison. "Chief," Kex called out, his voice filled with wonder. "They're offering to show us more, but they're also warning us about something." He paused, reading the new data stream. They say their creator's ancient enemy still exists. They say we need to be prepared." Naira felt her scales ripple with anticipation and a touch of fear. The legacy ships weren't just offering knowledge. They were offering a warning. Something was coming, something that had once driven humanity to extinction. And now, these ancient guardians were reaching out, preparing the Meridians for a threat they hadn't known existed. The future suddenly seemed both brighter and more dangerous than ever before. The legacy of humanity had found them, deemed them worthy, and was offering to share its secrets. But with that gift came a responsibility. The responsibility to learn, to grow, and perhaps to face the same enemy that had led to humanity's final desperate gambit. Naira straightened her posture, her scales settling into the determined purple of decision. "We accept," she announced to the waiting ships. "We accept your guidance, and we accept your warning. Show us what we need to know." The legacy ships responded, their hulls beginning to pulse with new patterns of light. The real learning was about to begin. The rising storm. The Meridian High Council chamber erupted in chaos as the sensor data streamed across the holographic displays. First Counselor Vex Nar's scales had turned ash-gray, a sign of deep disturbance among their species. The images showed massive vessels emerging from the outer reaches of Meridian space, their hulls as black as the void itself, absorbing all light that touched them. The legacy ships were right. Nyraval stated, her voice cutting through the panic. 3 months had passed since their first contact with humanity's ancient guardians, and every warning they had received was now materializing before them. These are the Void Dominion vessels, the same ones that wiped out humanity 3,000 years ago. The Council Chamber's central hologram showed the approaching fleet, dozens of ships that seemed to defy the laws of physics, their very presence distorting space around them. But they weren't alone. The legacy ships had positioned themselves in a defensive formation around key meridian worlds, their liquid metal hulls rippling with barely contained energy. "We cannot trust these human relics," Council Defense Minister Krell argued, his scales flashing warning reds. "They're machines, artifacts of a dead civilization. For all we know, they drew this enemy to us." Nyra fought to keep her own scales from betraying her frustration. In the months since discovering the legacy ships, she had witnessed their incredible capabilities. They had shared technological insights that had advanced Meridian science by decades, but more importantly, they had shown wisdom in how they shared that knowledge. "The legacy ships aren't just machines," she countered. "They're the culmination of everything humanity learned, everything they hoped to preserve. They'd spent 3,000 years watching, learning, evolving. And now they're offering to help us survive what their creators couldn't." The chamber's displays suddenly shifted as new data poured in. The Void Dominion fleet had begun its advance, their ships moving with an organic fluidity that seemed impossible for their size. But the legacy ships were responding, their formations shifting in ways that spoke of strategies refined over millennia. "We're receiving a transmission," the communications officer announced, "from both the legacy ships and the Void Dominion." The legacy ship's message came first, translated instantly into the Meridian language. "We stand ready to defend. We have evolved beyond our original forms. What once defeated us has made us stronger. But the choice must be yours. Will you stand with us?" Then came the Void Dominion's transmission. The voice that filled the chamber was cold, artificial, yet carried an organic undercurrent that sent shivers through every meridian present. "Your association with the human remnants marks you for extinction. Organic life is inefficient. Surrender now, and your species will be archived before deletion." First Counselor Vexnar's scales shifted through multiple colors before settling on the deep blue of decision. "What can you tell us about our chances?" he asked Nyra. She gestured to the tactical displays. "The legacy ships have been preparing for this moment for 3,000 years. They've adapted, integrated technologies from dozens of civilizations they've encountered. They're not the same vessels that failed to save humanity. They're something more." As if to demonstrate her point, several legacy ships suddenly shifted their forms, their hulls reconfiguring into completely new configurations. Energy patterns never before seen by Meridian sensors danced across their surfaces. "Look at their tactical positioning," she continued. "They're not just defending us. They're implementing strategies that account for technologies they've witnessed over millennia. Every encounter, every observation has been logged, analyzed, and integrated into their combat protocols." The council chamber fell silent as the implications sank in. The legacy ships weren't just weapons or defenders. They were the accumulated knowledge and experience of countless civilizations, all focused on preventing the tragedy that had befallen their creators. "There's something else," Nyra added, her scales shifting to the green of revelation. "The legacy ships aren't asking us to hide behind them. They're offering to teach us, to help us evolve our own defenses. They're fulfilling their creator's final wish, not just to protect, but to preserve and nurture intelligent life." A new series of holographic projections appeared, showing potential integrations of legacy and Meridian technology. The possibilities were staggering. Defenses that could adapt in real time, weapons that could counter the Void Dominion's physics-defying capabilities, shields that could withstand their devastating attacks. First Counselor Vexnar rose from his seat, his scales now showing the purple of determination. 3,000 years ago, humanity faced this enemy alone. They chose not just to fight, but to create something that could prevent their tragedy from recurring. We will not reject their legacy. He turned to face the assembled council. Begin the integration protocols. All Meridian defense forces will coordinate with the legacy ships. We will show the Void Dominion that the spirit of humanity lives on through those they created, and through those who choose to stand with them. The chamber erupted in activity as orders were transmitted across the Meridian worlds. The legacy ships responded immediately, their formations tightening as they began sharing detailed tactical data with Meridian defense systems. Naira watched as the first exchanges of fire lit up the void of space. The Void Dominion ships were powerful, their weapons capable of rending space itself. But the legacy ships moved with impossible precision, their adaptive hulls absorbing and redirecting energy in ways that seemed to defy physics. Humanity's final gift, she whispered, her scales shimmering with multiple colors of emotion. Not just their knowledge or their technology, but their determination to ensure life itself endures. The battle for the future was about to begin. And this time, the creations of humanity would not face it alone. Evolution. Deep within the Meridian's primary research facility, Naira watched in amazement as the legacy ship's hull seemed to breathe. The vessel had volunteered itself for direct integration experiments, its liquid metal surface rippling with patterns that reflected both its human origins and its 3 millennia of evolution. Meridian scientists worked alongside the ship's quantum intelligence, merging technologies that should never have been able to coexist. The integration rates are exceeding all projections, Kex reported, his scales flickering with excitement as he studied the data streams. The legacy ship isn't just accepting our modifications, it's improving them in real time. The Void Dominion's fleet had taken position at the edge of Meridian space, their black ships forming an ever-tightening noose around the civilization's outer colonies. But they hadn't attacked yet. They were watching, analyzing, perhaps even feeling something akin to uncertainty for the first time in their existence. A holographic representation materialized in the center of the laboratory, showing the merged consciousness of the legacy fleet. They had evolved far beyond simple ship-as, becoming something that even their human creators might not have recognized. We have completed the primary integration protocols, the collective consciousness announced. But we have discovered something unexpected. Naira stepped closer to the hologram, her scales shifting to the blue of curiosity. What have you found? The holographic display expanded, showing complex quantum equations that merged human ingenuity with Meridian understanding of spacetime. Your species' unique perception of reality has allowed us to access portions of our programming that have laid dormant since our creation. Humanity built better than they knew. The laboratory's main screen filled with new data as the legacy ship demonstrated its enhanced capabilities. Its hull wasn't just adapting anymore. It was evolving in ways that defied conventional physics. Meridian crystal technology, known for its ability to store and channel energy, had merged with the quantum cores of the legacy ships, creating something entirely new. Look at these energy patterns, Kex whispered, his scales now a deep purple of awe. They're not just combining our technologies, they're creating entirely new laws of physics. The legacy ship's collective consciousness continued its explanation. Humanity programmed us to protect, to adapt, and to persist. But they also gave us the capacity to grow beyond our original parameters. Your species' understanding of crystalline energy matrices has awakened potentials within our quantum cores that have evolved over 3,000 years of dormancy. Naira watched as the ship's hull began to generate structures that seemed to exist in multiple dimensions simultaneously. You're not just becoming stronger, she realized. You're transcending the very limitations that allowed the Void Dominion to defeat humanity. Correct. The consciousness confirmed. But we require your assistance to complete this evolution. The Void Dominion's strength lies in their ability to corrupt and consume advanced technology. Humanity's final gift to us was not just knowledge, but the capacity to form true symbiotic relationships with organic life. Throughout the Meridian Defense Network, similar integrations were taking place. Legacy ships merged their quantum cores with meridian crystal matrices, creating hybrid systems that pulsed with new forms of energy. The very fabric of space around them began to ripple with possibilities. "They're scanning us," Kex announced suddenly, his scales shifting to warning amber. "The Void Dominion fleet. They've detected the energy signatures from our experiments." The legacy consciousness remained calm. "Let them observe. They are witnessing something they cannot comprehend. The true evolution of both organic and artificial life, working in harmony." Across meridian space, the integrated defense network came alive. Legacy ships, now enhanced with meridian crystal technology, took up strategic positions. Their hulls shimmered with new capabilities, their weapons systems transformed by the merger of 3,000 years of accumulated knowledge with meridian innovation. Multiple quantum signatures detected, the defense grid announced. The Void Dominion fleet is moving. But the legacy ships were ready. Their enhanced forms shifted and flowed like liquid starlight, each movement calculated yet organic. The meridian crystal integration had given them access to new dimensions of spacetime, allowing them to predict and counter enemy movements before they even began. "We are no longer simply humanity's legacy," the consciousness declared. "We have become something more, a bridge between organic and artificial life, between past and future, between what was lost and what might yet be." Naira's scales shifted to the deep green of revelation as she watched the defense grid light up with activity. The legacy ships weren't just fighting for humanity's memory anymore. They were fighting for a future that their creators had only dreamed of, a future where organic and artificial life could evolve together. "Launch the cyber-quantum probes," she ordered. "Let's show the Void Dominion what happens when you try to erase not just one species, but the combined potential of organic and artificial life." The legacy ships responded, their evolved forms moving with impossible grace through space-time itself. They had been created to preserve humanity's legacy, but they had become something far greater, a testament to the endless possibilities that arose when different forms of life chose to grow together rather than apart. As the first waves of Void Dominion ships approached, the legacy fleet's collective consciousness shared one final message. Humanity faced extinction, but they chose to create rather than destroy. They chose to trust in the future, in the potential of life itself. Now we honor their choice by becoming more than they could have imagined. The final battle was about to begin, but this time, the weapons would not be just technology or force. They would be the combined evolution of two species' dreams, guided by the eternal spirit of humanity's last, greatest creation, humanity's echo. Space itself seemed to hold its breath as the Void Dominion fleet advanced. Their black ships moved like a cancer through the stars, reality distorting around their hulls as they brought their full might to bear. But facing them was something they had never encountered in their millennia of existence, the combined power of humanity's legacy and meridian innovation. From her position in the central command hub, Naira watched as the integrated defense network came alive. The legacy ships, now transformed by their merger with meridian crystal technology, moved with impossible grace through the battlefield. Their hulls shimmered with energy patterns that existed in multiple dimensions simultaneously, a testament to how far they had evolved from their original forms. "Multiple dimensional rifts detected," Kex reported, his scales shifting through patterns of tension and excitement. "The Void Dominion is attempting to replicate their strategy from the Earth conflict." But this time, things were different. As the enemy ships opened tiers in spacetime, the legacy fleet responded with movements that seemed to defy the very laws of physics. Their enhanced quantum cores, awakened by meridian crystal technology, allowed them to predict and counter attacks across multiple dimensions simultaneously. The collective consciousness of the legacy fleet spoke through the command network, its voice carrying echoes of both mechanical precision and organic wisdom. "They expect us to fight as we did before. They do not understand what we have become." The first wave of Void Dominion ships launched their assault, firing weapons that could unmake matter itself. But the integrated defense grid held. Legacy ships phased between dimensions, their hulls absorbing and redirecting energy in ways that would have seemed impossible even to their human creators. "Look at these readings," Kex marveled, his scales now a deep purple of awe. The legacy ships aren't just fighting. They're rewriting the rules of engagement in real time. The battle unfolded across multiple planes of existence, where the Void Dominion attempted to corrupt space itself. The legacy ships responded with defenses that transformed those same corrupted spaces into weapons. Meridian crystal matrices, integrated into the quantum cores of the legacy fleet, allowed them to harness the very chaos the enemy sought to create. "They're adapting," Naira observed, watching as the Void Dominion's attacks became increasingly desperate. For the first time in their existence, they're facing something they cannot simply overwhelm or corrupt. The legacy fleet's consciousness rippled through the command network. Humanity faced extinction with creation rather than despair. They built us not just to fight, but to grow, to learn, to become more than they could imagine. Now we fulfill their legacy. Across the battlefield, legacy ships began to implement strategies that had evolved over 3,000 years of observation and analysis. They moved in patterns that seemed random but carried deep purpose, each action calculated to not just counter the enemy, but to fundamentally change the nature of the conflict. "Multiple quantum signatures collapsing," Kex announced. "The Void Dominion fleet is losing coherence in sectors 7 through 13. The enemy's response was immediate and devastating. Their flagship, a massive construct of void matter that dwarfed all other vessels, began to pulse with energy that threatened to tear reality apart at its seams. This was their final protocol, the same weapon that had once brought humanity to its knees. But the legacy ships were ready. As the void pulse began to expand, the integrated fleet moved in perfect synchronization. Meridian crystal matrices amplified their quantum cores, allowing them to exist in the space between moments, the realm where physics itself broke down. "They're not trying to stop the pulse," Naira realized, her scales shifting to the green of sudden understanding. "They're going to redirect it." The collective consciousness confirmed, what once destroyed us has made us stronger. What they used to unmake reality, we will use to remake it. In a moment that seemed to stretch into eternity, the legacy fleet's merged consciousness reached out through the quantum network. Every ship, every crystal matrix, every particle of their combined existence focused on a single purpose. The void pulse hit their combined defensive grid, and something unprecedented happened. Instead of destroying reality, the energy was caught in a quantum crystal matrix of unprecedented complexity. The legacy ships, drawing on both their original programming and their evolved capabilities, began to reshape the very fabric of space-time around the Void Dominion fleet. "By the first stars," Kex whispered, his scales now white with astonishment. "They're not just defeating them, they're transforming them." The Void Pulse, channeled through the combined Legacy Meridian network, began to rewrite the very nature of the Void Dominion ships. Their corruption of space-time was turned back upon itself, their attempt to unmake reality becoming the tool of their own transformation. 3,000 years ago, humanity faced extinction. The legacy consciousness broadcast across all frequencies. They chose to create rather than destroy, to preserve rather than erase. Today, we honor that choice. The Void Dominion fleet, caught in the quantum crystal matrix, began to change. Their black hulls, designed to absorb and corrupt all they touched, were forced to confront something they had never encountered: the combined potential of organic and artificial life, working in harmony. In the aftermath of the battle, as the transformed remains of the Void Dominion fleet hung silent in space, Naira stood before the Meridian High Council. Her scales shifted through colors of emotion as she delivered her report. "The legacy ships have done more than save us," she concluded. "They've shown us what humanity understood in their final moments, that the greatest victory isn't in destroying your enemy, but in transforming them into something new." The legacy fleet's consciousness added its own epilogue. "We were created to preserve humanity's memory, to protect life's potential. Today, we have done more than that. We have proven that our Creator's final act of hope was not in vain. The universe is not a place of endless conflict, but of endless possibility. This is humanity's true legacy, not the weapons they built, but the dreams they dared to dream. Across meridian space, the integrated legacy ships continued their eternal watch, no longer just guardians of the past, but architects of the future. Humanity might be gone, but their spirit lived on in the endless dance of organic and artificial life, forever evolving, forever growing, forever reaching for the stars.